So speaking to all Washington Commanders fans, we knew this offseason was going to be filled with fireworks. After the way the 2024 season ended, there was no way Washington would just sit on their hands with this same roster. It was all about improving. So Adam Peters wasted no time with improving this roster, as we just traded for wide receiver Deebo Samuel a couple days ago, and dare I say, this is just the beginning. There are way more moves I expect Washington to make. However, honestly speaking, it's not as easy as we think. In today's video, we're going to take a look at 5 tough decisions that Adam Peters is going to have to make with very little time, according to Rigo's Rags. Let's talk about it. What's good, y'all? It's your man Juan Gotti here. Before we get into today's video, I want to ask you guys to do me a favor, subscribe to my fitness channel as I'm documenting my journey from fat to fit. Link down below in the description. As I always like to say, you must cite your sources when you're using someone else's criteria. So shout out to Rigo's Rags for putting this article out to help inspire this video. So the first move that is going to be very tough for the Washington Commanders to make this offseason is deciding whether or not it is worth going all in on Myles Garrett. Now, if you know me, you know I'm all in for trading for Myles Garrett. However, we're not doing business with ourselves. We have to do business with the Cleveland Browns. And recently, Myles Garrett just doubled down on him not wanting to return to Cleveland, so he's still looking to be traded. However, Cleveland can play the hard game and not trade him at all. They do not have to. Although I think they would be doing themselves a disservice by not trading Myles Garrett, because he's the one and only player that can net them the kind of compensation that could speed up a rebuild. They still are not required to trade Myles Garrett. Taking a look at the article now, it says Myles Garrett trade request shocked the NFL to its foundations. The All-Pro defensive end does not believe in the ambitions matching with the Cleveland Browns timeline for contention. He takes matters into his own hand, but the AFC North club remains reluctant to part ways with one of the league's best players regardless of position. And that's the thing about it too, right? We always say, why does Myles Garrett want to leave Cleveland? I mean, he just wants to win at this point of his career. He's already got all the stats, he got all the awards. He's one of the best defensive players, if not the best defensive player in the game. All he wants to do is get a Super Bowl Lombardi to solidify his Hall of Fame resume. And he already talked about it. He was open to returning to Cleveland if they were going to be competing anytime soon. But simply looking at their team, knowing that they're going to be into another rebuild, he doesn't have time for that, bro. He wants to win now, and that's the only reason why he's requesting the trade. The Washington Commanders are among the front runners to secure Garrett's services with sports books. This solves a significant need and further legitimizes the Super Bowl push, but it remains a tricky decision for Adam Peters considering the expected compensation attached. Cleveland will be looking for 2 first-round picks and more if general manager Andrew Berry entertains offers at some stage. While Garrett is worth it, Peters must figure out if it's worth jeopardizing his chance to mold a well-rounded roster for sustainable success. There's also Garrett contract to factor into the equation. The former first-round pick from Texas A&M has 2 more years and no guaranteed money left on his deal. Any trade will probably come with a market resetting extension for good measure. Now that's a good interesting point right there, because I personally think if we're trading for Myles Garrett and we know we have to extend him very soon, that should lessen the draft capital that we have to give up. So instead of 2 first-round picks, maybe pick 29, a third, and maybe another late-round pick after that, or maybe just those 2 draft picks given up, considering the fact what we still have to pay him. And I know some of y'all are still thinking like, Juan, there's no way we trade for Myles Garrett and only have to give up a first-round pick and maybe a late-round pick. Well, I want to say it is a possibility, because I just named one reason why that is. We need to trade for him, so that requires giving up draft capital and maybe a player. And then you're going to also have to extend him, give him a new contract, because he has no guaranteed money. And we know NFL players do not like playing with no guaranteed money left on their deal. And I think for Cleveland, it's going to get to a point where they realize, okay, he's for real. He does not want to come back here. We need to act on it so we can maximize the compensation that we can get for Myles Garrett. I genuinely think a trade is going to go down on draft night, where Washington, in this hypothetical situation, sends their first-round pick and maybe another late-round pick for Myles Garrett. I say that to say I do expect to give up some compensation, but not as much as we originally thought. And we have Adam Peters as our general manager, okay? That's the one thing that I'm going to hold on to forever. If he genuinely feels like, okay, making this move is going to mortgage the future of this roster, then I don't think he's going to do it. That's the good thing about it. Like, this is not a guaranteed move to happen. This is a move to happen if he feels like it's right for the now and the future. The next tough decision that the Washington Commanders GM Adam Peters is going to have to make is Jonathan Allen's future. Now, before the Deebo Samuel move, I was all in on just releasing him because there's nobody that wants to trade for Jonathan Allen given his contract situation and his lack of productivity. However, now, after the Deebo Samuel trade, I am hoping and praying that we're able to find some type of draft capital for Jonathan Allen, because we're losing draft picks. Although it is for, players like Marshawn Lattimore and like Deebo Samuel, which I wouldn't not do that trade. I just think we need more picks for this upcoming draft, because there's no way he sits on 6 picks. The Washington Commanders need to boost their trenches on both sides of the football. They were competent, but nothing more during the 2024 season. It eventually became their undoing against the Philadelphia Eagles with the Super Bowl at stake. Damn, Slim, you really had to bring up the past, though. I was just starting to get over the game and just starting to get over the fact that Saquon Barkley ran all over our freaking head.
Saquon Barkley. I swear, Saquon Barkley is the best. We survived the Giants, and now the Eagles got Saquon Barkley. Lord have mercy.
And you just had to reopen that wound. God damn. Nah, but in all seriousness, though, continuing on with the article, it says this won't go unnoticed by Adam Peters. The general manager knows the importance of building from the inside out. His defensive line needs help on the edge and at the linebacker core, depending on Bobby Wagner's status. The interior will also come under microscope with upgrades needed. Hey, look, what have I been saying all offseason, though, y'all? If it was up to me, and this is probably a good thing why I'm not the general manager, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, all them guys would have been gone, except for Dante Fowler and Johnny Newton. Those are the only 2 guys that we will be having back on this roster next year from last season on the defensive line. Everybody else could go, Slim. I'm telling you, because I need a whole overhaul of defensive linemen on this roster next year. No funny. Deron Payne should be back. The same goes for Johnny Newton after the 2nd round pick flashed promise as a rookie. The likes of Sheldon Day and Carl Davis might not be so lucky, but the most difficult decision above all else is Jonathan Allen. And to catch you back up, the reason why it's difficult right now is because no one wants to trade for Jonathan Allen. The Washington Commanders just tried to include him in the trade offer with Deebo Samuel, and the 49ers said, nah, we good. Not because Jonathan Allen is just this trash guy. I'm sure he's serviceable and still quality, but he's due $15-16 million this upcoming year, and nobody wants to take on that contract, especially for a 1-season rental. So it looks like Washington's going to probably have to cut him. And this whole time, I thought it was just us that wanted to part ways with Jonathan Allen, but come to find out, Jonathan Allen is the one that asked to be released or asked to seek a trade. And that's the whole kill about it, is like, dang, John Allen, really? Like, I thought after our best year, you would want to come back, but he wants guaranteed money, and he wants to go somewhere where he's probably going to be able to play and be the guy. And the writing was on the wall last year when we decided to draft Johnny Newton, and you can even say the writing was on the wall when we decided to draft for Darian Mathis. Although that was an epic fail, clearly 2 regimes decided to upgrade the defensive line while still having 2 starting defensive linemen. So that tell you all you need to know about how they feel about him. So at the end of the day, I don't expect Washington to get much for Jonathan Allen as far as a trade, but at this point, given the fact that I'm desperate for draft picks, I would take a 6th round pick at this point. I would take a 5th round pick. It would be a miracle if Adam Peters could find a way to get a 4th round pick for Jonathan Allen. But I think push come to shove, the ultimate reality is that we're going to have to end up releasing Jonathan Allen, and we're probably going to do it here soon, given the fact that we want to do right right by him and allow him to go to a team that is going to use him and probably pay him. The next thing that's going to be a little tough for Adam Peters to decide to do is how to go about addressing the running back position, because clearly we know we need to upgrade the running back position. But you do have Brian Robinson under contract for another year, and you also do have Austin Ekeler as well. But it isn't no guarantee that Ekeler has to be back. What is a guarantee is that we need to upgrade this goddamn running back room. So Marion Hampton, come on down to Washington. But what confirms that Washington is interested in a running back is the fact that they met with Ashton Jeanty and a couple of other running backs during the draft combine week. So clearly there's an interest there to upgrade the position. Now getting on to the article, it says Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Ekeler formed a decent running back tandem in 2024. Their skills complemented each other well, and they made some big plays when called upon. However, General Manager Adam Peters won't settle with his backfield options alongside quarterback sensation Jaden Daniels, as he shouldn't. He should be looking to upgrade this roster because we need it badly. So I do have a couple of announcements. Wednesday, 8 p.m., episode number 2 of the Burgundy Breakdown will be going live. Me, Reedy and Z, and John from Ballin' and Burgundy podcast will be live for episode number 2 of our show. Thursday, I have Ed Oliver and Street Scores coming back on the channel again at 7:30 for a preview of free agency, reaction to the Deebo Samuel trade, and much, much more. I look forward to seeing you guys for those 2 shows. How Peters approaches the running back dynamic is an overlooked subject across the fan base. It would be a surprise if Robinson and Ekeler won around in 2025, but the Commanders need to find another explosive weapon capable of turning every single slight crease into a large gain on the ground. And that's the thing, right? We don't want to get rid of Brian Robinson because he's still useful here in the NFL and on this roster. We just need somebody that's going to be able to turn a 5-yard gain into a 60-yard touchdown. And that's why I think this draft is having a lot of talent, going to be really good for Washington because it's a lot to pick from. And I just thought about it here on the spot. Remember when we first got Austin Ekeler and he was talking about how he didn't want to be a main running back anymore? That's why he left the LA Chargers, because he wanted to kind of take a backseat role. And that's kind of what they did this past season with like splitting curries and splitting attempts. What if we're able to have a backfield we can use all 3 and all 3 are satisfied? B-Rob is still getting his touches, the new rookie's getting his touches, and Austin Ekeler can be that guy that takes a couple snaps a game but still contributes, and that is going to be really good for him considering the fact that he has a lot of injury history, which means ultimately he's going to stay healthy longer. Hey, I think I just figured it out. I think there is a way that all 3 can happen. New running back, Brian Robinson's happy, and also Austin Ekeler. And who's doing that? What NFL team has a 3-headed monster, or should I say 4-headed monster, with Jaden Daniels' ability to use his legs as well? Like in the past, we know we've seen teams have 2 dynamic, dominant running backs, but 3? Man, that'd be crazy. So I think I'm on to something, I ain't gonna lie. So the lack of explosion, that's an area where both Robinson and Ekeler lack. The former Alabama star is a brute force capable of gaining hard yards in between the tackle. The veteran was utilized more as a pass catcher and kick returner, and on his duties where he earned his 2nd team All-Pro honor. Shout out to Eck for that. If the Commanders shake things up with a productivity dynamic 3rd running back, that could be better for both sides. And there's so many running backs in this draft class to choose from. Ashton Jeanty, Marion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Dylan Sampson, Quinshawn Judkins, Devin Neal, Cam Scatterbo. It's so many options. So that's why I genuinely just know Adam Peters is going to find a gem that's going to fit right into this backfield, and me making this video realizing, hold on, we don't have to get rid of Eck. We may do that, but we don't have to. We can have a way to use all 3 of these guys, and there's no other NFL team that's doing that. B-Rob, Ekeler, and a new rookie, woo-wee, along with Jaden Daniels' legs, man, come on, Slim. The next thing that may be a little tough for Adam Peters to figure out is Sam Cosmi's contingency plan. It wasn't all good news for the Washington Commanders during a memorable run to the NFC Championship game. The biggest disappointment by a considerable margin was the Sam Cosmi's injury. Another outstanding campaign from Cosmi came to an abrupt halt in the divisional round. The exceptional right guard went down trying to push a Powell against the Detroit Lions. Concerns were immediate, with tests showing the former 2nd round selection out of Texas towards ACL. This represented the worst possible outcome for the Commanders. Cosmi is an elite level performer and has emerged as a leader within the locker room. Looking at the typical timeline for ACL recoveries, the interior lineman is set to miss most, if not all, of the 2025 campaign. That sounds very, very painful, man. We need Sam Cosmi, bro. God dang. Something tells me, though, that he's not going to be required to miss all of the season. Now, I don't think he's going to be ready for week 1. I think he's going to have to sit out a couple weeks, but I don't know. Something tells me he's already back at the facility working out and stuff like that. I have a good feeling about him playing at some point in 2025. It may not be right away. It may not be the first month, but I do think Cosmi's going to be back out there. Adam Peters' contingency plan for Cosmi absence goes right to the top of the priority list. Jaden Daniels masked a lot of the problems on the offensive line in 2024. Reinforcements were guaranteed even before the injury development. They are even more essential now, and that's just nothing but facts. Like, we already had concerns about the offensive line prior to Sam Cosmi going down. Now, with him going down, they're going to be missing a big portion of the 2025 season, more likely than not. We're definitely going to have to find a way to get some type of veteran help, because it'd be different if it was like a crazy timeline where he will be missing the whole season and maybe even next year, but he's not going to miss that long of a time, so you don't want to draft his replacement in a sense. You don't want to draft a young guy. Just slide a veteran in there. I don't know if you bring back Colt Luke. I don't know if you go get Mekhi Becton. Like, there's some good options out there, and I truly believe in Adam Peters to make the right option. So last but certainly not least, because this is up here right with the Sam Cosmi injury contingency plan as one of the toughest decisions that he's going to have to make, that is investment balance. How much should Adam Peters invest into this offseason without mortgaging the future? Should he go all in, screw the draft picks, screw the salary cap, and we just go all in for a Super Bowl, kind of take the Rams route? Or do we sit back, upgrade the roster, and allow us to continue to work towards the Super Bowl, but also not screw up the future? I think that's what we're going to do. That's the second option that we're going to take, and that's not mortgaging the future. I have full confidence in Adam Peters, again, to not screw up the future just for this 1 year. Although, while still maintaining a balance of going all in this year, you don't necessarily have to jump at everything. So if we can't get Myles Garrett, it would suck, but you have to find some other guys to get. If you can't get Charvarius Ward, maybe you got to go somewhere else. Get a Mike Jackson or somebody like that. So there are options out there that you can go about getting without hurting your future by also upgrading it, and I think that's the route that we're going to go. So there you have it. Let me know what you guys think about this video down below in the comment section. What are some of the toughest decisions you think Adam Peters is going to have to make? Leave it down below in the comment section. As always, me and boy Juangotti. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 9,000 subscribers, so I would greatly appreciate it if you can reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe, be easy out there. Peace.
Never gave a ballin' like I'm D-Sean, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey never seen a laundry.